Okay, I washed all these parts off, so it's time to put this head back together and set that aside. So we had a double check. I was careful to keep everything separate. This is the exhaust valve, so it's going in the side with the exhaust on it. It's got the stiff spring and this keeper that needs to go on there, and then this C-clip goes in the ring. There we go. And then the shape of the keeper goes around and holds the C-clip in place. And that is popping just fine. So, intake valve, the spring, don't forget the springs. Very soft spring for the intake valve. Keeper. And the C-clip. There we go. And that's in place. Yeah. Alright. That's assembled. We'll set that aside. And, okay. Because we got the head off, we will grab some batteries and check this again and again to make sure that we've got timing someplace close to correct, because I keep waffling my decision whether or not I think the timing is right, or if I think I need to just try to get this flywheel off and do something with the timing. For the ignition anyway. So I got there it is. Piece of wet or dry sandpaper to clean off the inside of the plug there. Flip the switch on. Okay, spin it so it's sparking. We know that now. Alright, it is sparking at the top there. So that flywheel doesn't need to go anywhere. Alright, I keep checking that and then I get paranoid. But the other thing is that you can watch a lot of videos about 1,000 ways to time an engine, but for slow speed and model engines, top dead center is usually about the right thing. A lot of, especially the slower an engine goes, the closer it needs to be timed to top dead center, so I just use that. If I was really gonna try to be very careful about this. I would think about moving it to about 5 degrees ahead of top dead center. But like I said, the slower an engine runs, the closer to top dead center the timing needs to be. So that's always a good spot to start. So I'm just going to keep considering that kind of good enough. One thing, something. Okay. Using this straight, I'm using this as a straight edge and checking to make sure that liner is above the edge of the brass around it. The fact that I can tip it a little bit before I feel it touch the brass is a good way to double check this liner for the cylinder is above the edge of the brass. Then we know it'll be the thing sealing on the head gasket properly. Because if you remember, the ET1 had a blow-by problem where it had a bit of compression, but it would lose it. So, yeah, this engine, when it's got compression, it's got really good compression. So the other thing I'm wondering is, which, if I can get it to run at without ungoverned speed, if I try to slow it down, the slower an engine runs, the less compression you usually want to have, because that's compression is part of where the engine gets its power, but obviously when it's turning over, the slower it turns, the less energy is in the flywheel to work against the compression to keep the engine running. So alright. One more thing, I'm going to take the carb needle out and just turn it against a piece of, what's this, 800 grit wet or dry sandpaper. Polish that up a little bit, and my fingers are super oily right now, so that was not dry. It was with a bit of oil on the needle that I did that rub to polish it up a teeny bit, since we're trying everything and seeing what sticks. So put the head back on and see if a little bit of valve lapping is what this engine needed. It's like I said, it would surprise lose compression once in a while, and cleaning and valve lapping will usually help that from becoming an issue. And if it was running and losing compression while it runs, that would, you know, prevent it from continuing to run. So, alright, spin these in. Now, head gasket tightening. Pattern. This engine has a 5-bolt pattern, which is nice because it's always easier for me to remember how to do the 5-bolt pattern, because you just pick a starting point and you always go clockwise, skipping a bolt, and then it gets all of them, and you go around twice. So, or I did counterclockwise that time, but you pick one direction and you go skipping one bolt, and that is enough to. Alright, and that's a good way to get it tightened up. So, alright, I'm going to put the valve rod, side rod back on now, so hold the valves down. Huh. They actually put that set screw in at top dead center on this side, so that's nice. Or I did. Somebody remembered to put that in at top dead center, so that was nice. So we put this on, we got to remember to hold this oh well, the name is escaping me. Hold the valve arm up here so that it doesn't interfere with the, or it doesn't hit the exhaust valve while we're putting that on there. And it's going to come to me, rocker, the valve rocker. That's the thing. Okay. And like the last few times we've done this, we just put the top on loosely so that we can pull the bottom away from the gear and make sure we're okay. So this is top, and I need to make sure, wait, there. Make sure we're turning the right way. Okay, that's okay. When we turn the right direction, this is traveling counterclockwise, which means from top I need this to be on that valve lobe to be on the other side, like so. Right, because that's an intake, exhaust. no, intake going up. I lost count already. So this is top dead center. So that's an intake. That's a compression. That's a power. Okay. Alright, I think that's the spot. There. Just moving it tooth by tooth here. Okay, I'm going to try that. And then put the lower screws in. Alright, I think that's going to be the spot. We will assemble this and try it out again. So the very fiddly bits of all this, of course, and we have been for a long time, but if making gasoline engines was easy, people would have been doing it for 200 or 300 years instead of 100 years. Because the first usable gasoline engines, well, the first usable ones are late 1800s, kinda. And then the really practical is still only 125 years old or so. So, like I said, if it was easy, people would have been doing it for more than 125 or 150 years. So, because the steam engine is something that we've had for 400 years now, 450 years. So yeah. Alright, well, with luck, this will run, and then once it's running, we can put the governor back on it.